Thank you for listening to Reformed Eve. Today I'm going to read from Acts 15:19, and I suggest you read the whole chapter. It'll be Acts 15:1 through 21. It's about being gracious. Acts 15:19 says, "Therefore my judgment is that we should not trouble those of the Gentiles who turn to God." As the God who tirelessly pursues after every individual, it grieves God to see the burdens placed on others under the disguise of pleasing God. Instead of honoring His true commands, people make assumptions into jokes. People make assumptions into things that burden the faithful and drive the lost away from Him. But beloved, God's commands are not burdensome or legalistic. He wants it to be easy for you, and He wants His grace to be sufficient for every single need. He readily gives grace to the humble and has compassion to those in need. Let your conversation be gracious. Remember, you are God's child. Soothe the wounded with your words of peace and hope. Encourage others and extend His grace to others. We ask Father, our God, to help us show grace to those we are working with. When we share the gospel, we don't want to be condescending. We don't want to be forceful. We don't want to be rude. We do have a responsibility to show others the light. We do have a responsibility to point out sin, but never in a way that is condescending. And we always want to do it in a way that shows grace, just the way that Jesus has shown grace on us. Sometimes when people confuse spirituality that we have, our relationship with God, and they confuse it with religion, like we talked about earlier, they get turned off. They want nothing to do with it. And much less when someone's trying to force them to turn it into that religion. We don't want to focus on religion. We don't want to focus on rules. We don't want to focus on different traditions. We want to focus on the grace of God, on the love of God, on the compassion, on the hope. We want to focus on how Jesus brings life to a world that is so dark. We want to inspire hope because that's what people secretly want. Everybody secretly wants hope. But the only way we can show them hope is with grace. If we talk to them with grace, if we are not condescending, we don't want to put anyone down. We don't want to try to force anyone. Be humble, be full of grace and compassion, because people who don't have God are wounded. They believe they're okay. They got their little band-aids on, but they're not okay. They need help. But we need to be very compassionate because they're very hurt and troubled, and they're very much traumatized. So let's treat them in such a way that will show the grace of God through our actions and words. Thank you for listening.